Hey guys, welcome to my channel Twitter Fazil. This is a part 2 video of how to upload an mp4 file from your local PC onto a Google Drive. Now we'll be talking about check if a folder exists in Drive or not, and finally uploading the file to the drive. At the end of the video, I'll run you through the entire process of how the code works. So let's get started. Step 4. Create a folder if it does not exist in the Google Drive. Now, before you start with this stage, you should understand that you probably have done whatever I have asked for in the first video, especially part 1, where I've asked you to create an API, Google API, or Google Drive API, and secondly, you have to install PyDrive. Now, if you can see here in my Google Drive, I do not have any folders, which, I've just removed this folder. This is just for testing purpose that I have. Okay, so I do not have folder, let's say Python B34. Okay, something randomly I'm just choosing. So I don't have a folder like that. I'll be creating a folder. And also if the folder is existing, if I try to create again, it will not create. Ideally, it should not create. That's the whole purpose of this video. That is, the step 4. So let us quickly go and have a look at the code. In the first video, you would have done this part, okay, where I've just highlighted now. But in second video, we'll be talking about this. Here, we'll be trying to import Google Drive from PyDrive.drive and creating, instantiating and creating an object called as drive. So this drive is basically working on this local web server, the thing which we have done on first video, where we had created a local web server connection, and it said to us that it is successful. What I mean is, if you see here, it should say that authentication flow has completed. Okay, so all right, so we have a function called as create folder. This function will be used to create a folder irrespective whether it is there or not. There's no logic written here, and that is if a folder is existing or not. That logic is not written here, that logic is written here. So this will just simply create a folder. What you have to take care of is you have to give this MIME type, which is application/vnd.google-apps.folder. Now this is responsible for creating a folder in Google Drive. Okay, so here what I really do is this function will receive a folder name. This will be, in our case, Python B34, and we'll be creating that folder in this particular drive. Where is that drive object? If you see here, we had instantiated and created this drive object. All right, once this folder is created, kind of like the action is performed, you will say folder.upload. That is, you will say go ahead and save and do whatever you were doing, just commit it. Okay, so once that's done, I'm just returning this folder ID. Don't worry about what this folder ID is as of now. I will be showing you later on where this folder ID is used. Okay, for now, just think I'll be returning a folder ID. Now, let's say if I wanted to check if a folder is existing. If it is existing, it should not create, and if it is not existing, it should create, right? So here, what I'm doing is I'm reading from my drive, Google Drive. I'm reading all the files that are on, all the folders and files which are there in my Google Drive. So in my case, if you see here, you would find only miscellaneous as of now as a folder, right? So we will see that it will go and create list of all the files that I have, and then I'm just running a for loop here that says for every drive folder in the list of files, check its title. Okay, so this is basically this drive underscore folder is going to be a dictionary object, and it will check its key, which is title. If its title is equal to the name of the folder, the name of the folder will be, when we are creating checking if a folder exists, that argument which is passed, in our case it is Python B34, that will be checked if it is same, if the title is same. If it is same, then that particular drive, that particular folder's ID will be returned. Where is this used? I'll show you in the later part of the code. After fifth video, I'll be showing you where it will be used. Okay, I mean the fifth step, my bad. So if it keeps checking for this particular folder name and if it never found, okay, so what will happen? Obviously it will never return from this function. So that means this folder, this for loop will eventually naturally it will finish and then go to else block. Since it goes to else block, it will go and call this function called create folder. What is create folder doing? Obviously it will create the folder, save it, and then return the folder's ID. That folder ID whichever is returned will be returned from this function. Now what I'll do is I will quickly call, I'll create these functions first, okay, and now I will perform this. I'll say check folder exist. I'll call this function called check folder exist and give a proper name, Python b34. Now I'm calling this function. Observe, it does some work and it has returned me a folder ID. This folder ID will be used later. But before that, let us see what has happened to my Google Drive. Observe, B34 is created. All right, perfect, right? Now, let's say if I call this check folder exist with Python B34 again, what will happen? Let's have a look. Observe, the name of the ID is the same as previous. It hasn't changed. What does that mean? It means it was existing and it is returning me the previous folder ID, right? So if you go here, observe, it does not create another folder. It creates only one folder. This is part 4. Let's quickly go on to part 5. Step 5. Uploading files in Google Drive. Now, when you're uploading a file, either you could upload it directly in the Google Drive or you could upload it in a certain folder. Now, if you remember from step 4, I have been talking about folder ID. That folder ID will be helping us to find out where I want to place my file. So I've created two functions here. If you see here, one of them says just uploading file, and here it is not uploading inside any folder. I'm not using it, but anyway, I've created it for your reference, and if you want to just play around that way. So I've just created this particular function. You can call this function and it will upload the file directly in the Google Drive, not in any folder. But our case is this, where I want to upload a file inside a folder. So here I'm taking 4 arguments, one being the title that I want in my Google Drive, what should be the name of the file. If you remember from the video 1, I have given name of the file, which is the name of the meeting followed by date. And next is the file name. This file name is the name in my local drive. You will come to know about it in the next part of the video. FID is nothing but the folder ID, the folder in which I want to place my file, and full path is from where I want to get my file in my particular PC. So here what it does is this part creates a file and it will create inside a particular folder ID. So this part is important. If you want to create a file inside a folder, you need to give parent and then you have to give list of, if you see here, it's a list of dictionary of key being kind, and that says folder hash file link, and ID is the folder ID that I'll be passing. The title here, of course, is the title that I want of my file in the folder. All right. So this will create a particular file in the folder. Okay. This part will get my file from my PC, and this part will be kind of like upload and commit. All right. And then this function basically just returns true. This is a very simple part. I can't really be showing you how this works without running the entire code. So what I'll do now is the last part wherein I'll be helping you just understand what the actual process looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to obviously come here and run this entire code. All right, so first thing is I have to authenticate myself. What I'm doing is I'm importing OS because that is what I'll be using this particular module for, dealing with all my files and folder of my system. Tkinter, so just so that I have a simple UI, and from Google Drive importing everything. So what is this Google Drive? This is my module, And this module is created by me here, that is in the same folder where I'm working. Okay, in my working directory, I've created this module. And the name I've given is google_drive.py. So I'm importing this as well. So here, first thing you will do is you will come and look for the main function. In the main function, I've just created a simple tkinter, kind of like a window, which is very simple stuff. All right, and I have explained this in my previous videos. So if you haven't seen how to create tkinter project, just have a look at that video. The description, you will find the link. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm just creating a very simple UI which just says file transfer application, and I have to give the path of the entire folder. So in my case, it will be this particular path, and I have spoken about this in video 1. C users user document zoom testing. So I'll copy this and I'll paste it here. Once I do that, I'll click on transfer now. Okay, as soon as I click, the processing starts. I'm not going to click right now. I'll show you later, but let's come back here what happens. So if you see here, when I click this button which says transfer now, it will go and call the function called as extract and process. Now I will come here to this function which says extract and process, and first thing I will do is get all these folder names which are there in my directory. Okay, which directory? If you understand, that will be the path which I have created here. Where is it? It's here. If you see this variable I have made it as global so that it can be accessed outside as well. And this path will be received here. If you understand, that will be in this entry field. If you see here, the entry field will be receiving this path. And that is nothing but this particular thing which I have just shown you here. This one, okay? This entire thing. Now that I have that path, I'll be getting the entire folder, all the folders which are there in that path. How is that? Observe, it is just going to fetch all the directories, list all the directories, and here right now I have only one particular folder. The name of the folder is, you can see what is it. Okay. Now what I'll do is I will try to read all the folder names one by one. Why am I doing this? Now, if you remember from part 1 video, in that the third step, I was just doing some kind of a manipulation of string, right? To get the name of the folder and to also give a name to my file. If you remember, the name of the file was name of the meeting followed by the date of the date on which I ran this particular meeting. So this part I'm doing here, okay, and finally I'll be calling this file uploader function. So if you don't know what is happening here, please refer to my previous video, okay, and link of that has been given in the description. So I'll call this file uploader with the entire path. What path is it? It is the path that I have created here. If you see here, I'm creating a full path. I'm sorry, I think I missed a step. Yeah, so I have to create a full path. What I'm doing is I'm just calling a function called create full path, and here the previous the previous path which was there, it was this C users user document zoom testing, that will be added with the full folder name. Why? So that I can traverse into that folder and then read what all the contents are there inside that particular folder. All right. So once I've created this full path, I am calling this file uploader function with that full path. So remember, now the full path is going to be this C users user document zoom testing followed by the name of the folder. Now inside that, I am also going to give extracted folder name. What is the name of the folder that I've extracted? Obviously it is going to be, in our case, if you see here, it will be Python B34. Why is that? Because if you remember part 3 of my previous video, there I have found out what is the extracted folder name. So there it is, Python B33, I think in the previous video. Here I've just kept Python B34. That will be the name of the extracted folder name. And finally the date. The date is going to be the one on which I ran. So that is going to be, in our example, what is it? 2020-04-17. All right. Now that this function is called, let's go to that function. So in file uploader, I'll be receiving these arguments and I'm just going to read through the entire folder. So I'm using same thing, os.list directory of full path, and checking if any of the file ends with .mp4. Now guys, if you want to upload any other file with any other extension, all you have to do is just change this extension to whatever you want. Okay, it could be .txt, it could be a document or Excel file or anything you want. Now I'm just checking, because it's a string, I can perform this action, that is file name dot ends with .mp4. Now if it ends with .mp4, then I will check if the folder exists or not. How am I doing? I'm just creating some kind of a counter here. In the beginning, the counter is going to be 0, and then I'm going to check if the folder exists. If you remember, in the step 4, I am calling this check folder exist function, which is inside my google_drive.py. Here, first thing it does is it goes and checks if it matches with the folder name. If it does, that means the folder exists. If it doesn't, then it will obviously create the folder and then return the folder ID. This folder ID is necessary. I'll show you where it will be used. In both the case, it is returning the folder ID. In case if it is not existing, it will create the folder. And in case if it is existing, it will just return the folder ID. So what happens here is the folder ID is received, and then I will be uploading this file inside the folder. It's again a function which is there inside my google_drive.py. It's this one about which I've just explained some time back. So it will upload the the file and return true. Once it's done, what it does is it goes and checks if there are any more file with mp4 ending. If there are, assume if there were, then this count would have been incremented to 1. So it will not create that same folder again. Why? Obviously, why should I create? It's already existing. I should avoid creating that or checking whether a folder exists, right? It doesn't make sense. I have the same folder ID. Inside that same folder ID, I have to upload the file. And I will keep on doing this until the end of the step, until the end of the all the files have been transferred. All right, so let me just quickly run this. What I'll do is I'll press transfer now. Observe. So it says authentication successful. File which didn't work were audio_only.m4a and .m3u. That's obvious because if you see here, there are 3 files. And this I don't need this, I only needed this, zoom_0. It's going to take some time, guys, because it also depends on the internet speed. And so I'll quickly run through this and I'll show you the end when the file is uploaded. As you can see, the file has been uploaded in the folder. It took me about some 3 minutes or so. It also depends on the speed of the internet, guys. And this is it. This is the end of the video, which is second part. And I hope you really liked the video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Internet is full of technical videos. I just love to make it so that everyone understands.